Hello and welcome to another video. I'm Northern Soul Reaper. Welcome to today's Chapter 2 review of Guardian of the Witch. Now, Guardian of the Witch has just started in the Weekly Shonen Jump. I did a quick review on Chapter 1 and I absolutely loved it. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. So I've decided that going forward, I think I'm going to try and do these weekly. So as a new chapter comes out, I'll try and do a review on it as well. So let's begin. So before we dive into the chapter review, guys, if you like this video, please give it a like and consider subscribing to the channel. You'll get all the content as it comes out. It's the best way to support the channel. It would mean a lot. So, Chapter 2 of Guardian of the Witch. So, Chapter 1 found our characters on the run, enemies of the state. So, Chapter 2 begins, you get a little recap. So you get a picture of Manasfa the witch and Fafner the guardian, and it gives you a little overview of what a witch is and what a guardian is. So witches are girls who can use magic. They've been implanted with the seed of evil, and their ultimate fate is to become an evil themselves once the magic seed overtakes them. And guardians are the best of the best. It seems like they're called guardians as a main fighting force, but those who rise up the ranks attain the ultimate duty, which is guardian of the witch. And the guardian of the witch's duty is to be their bodyguard, but their ultimate task is to kill the witch when they become corrupted by evil. So that's the two roles of our two main protagonists: Fafner the guardian, Manasfa the witch. So beginning of the chapter, it seems like they've been discovered that they've ran away. There's an alarm going out. It says that the flame witch has escaped, and what's really cool is it says the flame witch. So obviously I think moving forward we're going to get some other types of witches, which I think is really cool. So we might see some cool battles between our heroes and some other witches who use some other techniques other than fire. So I think that would be really cool. So the state has raised an alarm. It says that the flame witch has escaped and so has the guardian. They've both turned against the state, and they're saying that it's a crime. Capture the witch and kill any rebels. That's the mandate. So Fafner, Manasfa and Nahta, the maid, they have all managed to find an abandoned house and they are holed up. Manasfa is asleep. It turns out that her body kind of has like a really quick metabolism, I guess, so she needs to eat lots of food and sleep a lot. Nahta, the maid, kind of tells Fafner that her body doesn't quite work like a normal person. That's why she stuffs herself with food all the time. If she doesn't maintain her body, she is corrupted all the quicker. Fafner and Nahta are having a conversation, and Nahta is very skeptical. She's like, "You didn't save us. You know, her ultimate fate in life is to die, and you've taken that away from her. You know, at least she could have gone out as a hero, but now she's going to go out as a rebel, as a traitor." And Fafner's like, I did save you, and she says, "Are you so empty-headed that you think that you can change her back?" And he says, "Well, I'm empty-headed because, and it means I can fit more dreams in there." So there's a bit of back and forth there. At which point we get the explanation about Manasfa's body needing all these extra food and more sleep. And then Manasfa wakes up, has a little bit of an argument with Fafner. I say argument, bit of playfulness. She says, "Morning Nahta and morning Mr. Chivalry Dork." And then they have a bit of that. Like, "Don't call me Mr. Chivalry Dork." And then Nahta is saying, "Lady Manasfa, it's not too late to go back. They might let you die the normal way, the right way if we go back." And then Manasfa says, "Look, I'm as image conscious as any girl. My death means just as much as how it's perceived in life." She doesn't want to turn into an evil globule and go on a rampage and have to be put down that way. She would have rather had a clean death as a witch. She knows that this is probably the right thing to do, but she wants to be the last witch. She doesn't want anyone else to suffer, so she has to keep on fighting, and that's kind of her resolve throughout this chapter. And she says if she doesn't become the last witch and fight on and show some guts, how can she honour the lives of all the witches that have come before her? And that kind of wins Nahta over for now. She admires Manasfa's resolve and she respects her as a person, so that kind of brings Nahta on side for now at least. And then Nahta offers up a bit of information as well. She says there might be something we can do about unmaking a witch, but it'll have to wait until we've all escaped. So then the next scene, they're all hooded and kind of look like fugitives ready to go. They've got some rope tied around them, and Fafner is basically saying, right, are you ready? You've got to keep up with me. Can you both keep up? And Manasfa says, yes, I had lots of exercise in Witch Tower. And Nahta says, yeah, I should be able to keep up. So they start running. They're about 500 meters away from the big castle walls. And just before they set off, Fafner bites into his hand and he says, this is part of my routine. It's how I remember the taste of pain before a battle. And they take off running, and they're immediately spotted by all of the other guardians on the wall, and their first response is to fire all these arrows at them, and the arrows are really like they're coming in towards them and they're about to hit, and Fafner's basically like too slow, draws his sword and absolutely obliterates all the arrows mid-flight before it has a chance to hit any of them. So we get a little bit from the guards and they say, oh, this is Fafner Leo range, he's an absolute beast. So he has risen up the ranks to become the Guardian of the Witch. It's obvious from the last chapter and this chapter that he's got a lot of combat prowess. And Fafner has a little bit of a reminisce. He says, that day when my parents died, I made up my mind, I trained to become the strongest. But when I was arguing with Manasfa and basically being an errand boy, he wishes that it could have gone on forever. So we're starting to see a softer side of Fafner, and maybe that hardened exterior when he was arguing with her, showing that he didn't like her, maybe it wasn't all that true, because it sounds like he actually cherished those moments. So it seems like he actually enjoyed his time as Manasfa's guardian. And as Fafner comes out of that kind of reminiscence, he says, hey, when we all escape, let's stuff ourselves with all this nice food. And Manasfa says, oh yeah, will you bet your life on it? And Fafner's like, yeah, I'll bet my life and anything else you want on it. So as they keep running towards, Fafner takes the sheath of his sword and it has some rope tied around it, which incidentally looks like it's tied around them as well, and he throws it at the ringing alarm bell. It smashes through the Holden frame of the bell and gets hooked into the O-ring that's holding the bell into place. The bell flies off, and the weight of it falling down the wall propels the three of them up over the wall. And kind of mid-flight, they're sort of saying, did you think of the landing in this? We're flying across a wall, basically down to our deaths. And Fafner's like, don't worry about it, I'll stick my sword in the wall and I'll make a lifeline. Now stop talking or you'll bite your tongue. Like, always pragmatic, thinking about the next thing is Fafner. So they're kind of saying, have you thought about the land? And he's like, yes, I'll stick my sword in the wall. And Fafner goes on to kind of, in his head, he says, it's his duty to protect everyone, to save the lives of everyone, and that includes witches. And just as they're flying over the wall, Manasfa says to Fafner, thank you for saving me. If I was on my own, I'm not sure I could have pushed myself. And then there would have been people that she could have saved and didn't, and that would have been a real shame. And she would have regretted it for the rest of her life. And then Fafner says, regrets doesn't sound like you, Lady Manasfa. And she says, yes, I know, right, it doesn't sound like me, but I'll swear now on my life. I'll swear on my life that I will always be me. And then the chapter ends with, you get 3 wanted posters on the wall, and the kind of the overarching narration says, the next morning they escaped the city-state of Bern. But after that, the witch Manasfa, Guardian Fafner and the maid Nahta became S-tier wanted fugitives, not just in Bern, but across the entire city-state federation of Uv. The witch has to be captured alive, the other 2 brought in alive or dead. The one who brings them in will be rewarded with 100 million roofs, and they will bring honour to their family name. So that's where the chapter ends. Again, continuing the momentum built up in the first chapter, I really liked this chapter. We're getting a bit more information about the characters and who they are, all while tackling some big action scenes. Like, there's a lot going on in this chapter. So again, I thought that it was really well paced. You start off with the nice explanation of what's what, who they are, and then we get the kind of the scene in the abandoned house where they're talking through what's going on. And Nahta, I see, when I first was introduced to all the characters, I thought Nahta was kind of just going to be there in the background, but she seems like she's going to be a big player in this, which is good. I actually enjoy her character. I think she brings that kind of air of skepticism to the group. Like, Manasfa clearly is easily led, and Fafner's got a head full of dreams. He's literally so empty-headed that so he can fit more dreams in there, by his own admission. And Nahta is going to be the realist. I feel like she's going to bring them crashing down to earth. But it's good, because if they've got a plan that involves something massively dangerous, she's going to be the one to make them check themselves, hopefully, and maybe go about it a little bit differently and come out alive. So I really like Nahta, and we get that kind of back and forth between her and Fafner about his plan and what's going on. And through her we learn a bit more about Manasfa. There's obviously a lot to being a witch and to the lore of it, and again, this chapter does a really good job of sprinkling in bits of backstory and lore. So we get the information about the witch, and how they need to eat lots of food and keep their strength up and sleep a lot, because if they don't, the evil seed will consume them quicker and they'll corrupt faster. So again, we get a little bit more information about that. And the back and forth between Fafner and Manasfa was really good again. Like, it's obvious that Manasfa is just teasing him, and Fafner's kind of rises to it a little bit, but I feel like that's going to be a really good character dynamic going forward. And artwork, again, the action sequences were really good. You could tell what was going on, like, really easily, and everything was really well drawn. The escape scene in particular, when he uses his sword to smash the arrows, and then with the bell flying over the wall and then them kind of shooting over it with the momentum, I thought was really well drawn. I don't have any kind of fears about the action sequences in this series. I think it's going to be really well handled. Asahi Sakano is doing a fantastic job of both the story and the artwork. So that was chapter 2 and my thoughts on it. Let me know in the comments below what you thought of chapter 2, what you liked, what you didn't like. What other kind of witches would you like to see? Because we've obviously got the Flame Witch. Let me know in the comments below what kind of witches you want to see. I wouldn't mind, maybe ice would be really cool, and maybe some kind of like a poison mist sort of one. That would be really cool. But let me know in the comments below what you guys think. Thank you very much for sticking around till the end. If you like this video, please consider giving it a like and subscribing to the channel so you can get all the videos as they come out. Thank you very much for watching, guys, and until next time, goodbye.